Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1497. Good morning. Happy Hump Day. Going to go on eBay Live again tomorrow. Today, not tomorrow. Tomorrow and Friday will be used to feverishly prepare more for the Madison Card Show, which is Saturday at the Alliant Energy Center. Tom Coleman's my director of dealer operations. He's in the chat. 9 to 5, no early birds at this Saturday's Madison Card Show. Dealer check-in and load-in starts at 7 a.m. If you're a dealer, you would have received an email 2 nights ago on details. Admission is $5. That does pay for your parking. It's free parking this weekend. And with that $5 admission, you receive a $5 coupon to be used at Bonsai Cards and Collectibles in DeForest. You can use that in-store only this Saturday or Sunday. So nice little perk for your admission. So Saturday, 250 dealer tables, well sold out. Pokemon tables went on sale last night on the website, MadisonCardShow.com. That is coming up next month, Sunday, July 27th. We're back at what was formerly known as the Sheraton Hotel. It's now the Madison Marriott West. So if you've been a regular dealer at the Saturday show, you're still in. We had to skip a couple months because you're going to see a much different ballrooms. And that's why we couldn't have a card show there, was because they were remodeling and getting ready for the switch over to the Marriott. So it's going to have a different look. It might just be different walls and carpet. I don't know. I don't think they've changed the footprint of the rooms, but it'll have at least a semi-different look to it. So I'm excited. I'll probably go in. I might check it out. I might head over there. I got to go do some errands on Friday, so maybe I'll pop in to see the progress. Well, it should be just about done. I think they said, I think it was going to be wrapped up shortly after this weekend, because I was not able to book June, which is why we're at the Alliant. Anyway, so we're back at the Sheraton in July for a Saturday, Sunday, 2-day extravaganza. Saturday, the mixed show with both sports and Pokemon. And then Sunday will be TCG only. And those tables have gone on sale on the website, MadisonCardShow.com. What else is going on? That's about it. Did a lot of shipping yesterday. We had another successful eBay Live event yesterday. I had an interesting question during the chat. They asked, do you make more during the day or at night? Which is a really good question. And honestly, it's about the same. And I'd have to go back to I've got a spreadsheet and I need to get it. And hopefully eBay they don't provide this data but I think they will soon with the analytics of live. But I am curious, and just going off memory, it's the total sales are about the same. The difference, though, is my price per item is lower during the day. I can tell you that because I make about the same, but I also do about 40 or 50 more items. So knock it down a little bit, but I still there was yesterday, it's sometimes it's and there's the noon hour is really slow, which tells me that I don't have too many West Coast buyers. At least yesterday I didn't, because it's only 10 a.m. out there. But, if I'm in the central time zone in the East Coast, that noon hour for me really slows down. It's noon hour here, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, really slows down. And then I kind of see an early afternoon pickup. But I also have seen, when I've run afternoons, I've seen a mid-afternoon, and it's around the time people are leaving work. So it's very interesting, the times. And when you really think about it, it makes perfect sense. And it's just kind of common sense. Well, yeah, people are eating lunch or people are leaving work. They're not bidding from work anymore. They're in the car, and they're not going to bid while in the car. They will at work though. So it is interesting to see the dynamics of the sales, whether it's during the day or in prime time. And sometimes, like Thursday nights, I've done better on a Friday day than I've done on a Thursday night. So I'll probably just avoid Thursday nights. I'll probably just go during the day on Thursday. And I'd kind of like to get to a point where I'm doing more daytime streams than primetime streams, just because it makes my life a little more easy and more enjoyable at some points as well. But it's part of the game. You have to, I need to be there. I need to capture some of it. So especially Sunday nights have been pretty good. One more thing about the Madison Card Show. So we have shirts, we have swag. So the staff, like East Coast Tom and myself, will be wearing these t-shirts, black Madison Card Show shirts with event staff on the back. So you see a black shirt, that's a staff member at the Madison Card Show. And for sale, our buddy Weston will be have a booth out front. He'll be selling Madison Card Show shirts in red. It's like some fuzz. And then this is what the back looks like. Pretty cool. It's got the Capital Madison Card Show. So shout out to Weston. And those will be the red shirts for the fans and the public will be for sale at the front on Saturday at the Madison Card Show. Hey, speaking of shirts, I had to wear this. Team Baez, Team Chemistry, Baezium. I had to wear this. My boy, Javi Baez. He's back, baby. 2 home runs last night. Javi Baez. 2 home runs. Maybe we'll bring out some Javi Baez today on eBay Live. The link in the description for today's live stream on eBay Live. It starts at 10 a.m. Central. What else is going on? Oh, a funny Ernie story. So Ernie likes to protect his territory, right? And so he'll bark at certainly other dogs, but also like rabbits and squirrels. Birds he doesn't bark at, but he's curious. Little birds. He's curious. And last night I went to take him out to go potty. And so our streets are getting re-asphalted or whatever they do to streets. So they put like loose gravel and I don't know. I don't know what they do. Whatever that is. But they've been working on our streets this week. And across the street there's a fire hydrant, and on the curb they spray painted in like white spray paint. I don't know. I'm sure it says like, hey, don't mess with this because it's a fire hydrant or whatever. I don't know. Whatever they do. Obviously, I have no idea what the background on the asphalt. So we go out and Ernie like just takes off. We're in the driveway and Ernie just takes off. He's on his leash, but he just takes off to the end of the driveway and he just, and I'm like, what in that? And I'm looking around. There's no squirrels. There's no rabbits. There's no other dog. No kitty cats. I'm like, what in the hell is Ernie going crazy about? And then we get a little closer. He's barking at the spray paint. Because it's new, because it's like it just appeared there. It wasn't there before. So he thinks it's an intruder to his, and it's not even his territory. It's across the street. But it's close enough. It's within eyesight. If it's within eyesight for Ernie, it's his territory. And then the neighbor texted me while we were out. He's like, is Ernie around? I'm like, he sure is. Let's go. So he got to play with Rookie a little bit. And he'll get to play with Rookie tomorrow and Friday. Rookie will be at doggy daycare. So just imagine Rookie and Ernie together at doggy daycare. They're going to be causing chaos. Ernie will be causing chaos. So this is and Rookie's a much bigger dog. Rookie's a golden doodle, much larger than Ernie, but Rookie's definitely the alpha. And Ernie's going to be the troublemaker, and Rookie's just going to follow along. He's going to be like, he's the dopey dog that gets in trouble because he followed the troublemaker. That's their relationship. So good luck to Rookie and Ernie this week at doggy daycare. What else is going on? That's about all. That's really about it. Madison Card Show this week. eBay Live today at 10. My goodness, this room is just, at some point I need to just clean. And it's not even clean, just pick up. What was it? Was that Home Alone? Pick up. So yeah. I'm just looking around. I think we're gonna do some player lots. So if you're Shane, I think I saw a Shane chat in here. So if you're looking for some player lots, I think I'm gonna run some player lots. I'm actually Shane's in here. The Shane shelf has been raided. The Shane shelf has been raided, and in fact, I went through a few boxes last night and was sorting out players that have been requested and stuff to put lots together. So we'll run some lots today if I get a free second to get them organized. Well, they're organized. I just got to get them sleeved up and counted. Make sure, I don't know if it's going to be individual cards or just some of them. There's like so many. It's like we're just going to do 100 or 50, and there's going to be duplicates. Some of them are smaller. We'll just do 10 card lots. So we'll do that today, 10 a.m. Central. George, what's going on? Good morning. Good evening to you. East Coast Tom in the house. Good morning. Andy Mack is here. What's happening? Scott is here from California. Good morning. Early morning for Scott. Philly Joe's in the house. Good morning. Gem City Card Show is here. Let's rip into a great day. Enjoy the hobby. I like it. Unicorn Cupcake is here. Good morning. Shane, there he is. Good morning. It's a bad night when you turn a hockey game off to watch a WNBA fight. I did see the highlights. I'll throw some WNBA on. I went through and basically sold most of the Caitlin Clarks I picked up on Saturday at the Janesville Card Show. And it's like, I'm looking for more Caitlin Clark yesterday. I'm like, oh shit. I've got some better stuff. I've got one slab. I've got a rookie Caitlin Clark slab. And I've got some first Bowmans and I think maybe a color. But I want to save those for the WNBA night that I'm going to run next week. So, but I've got a lot. I still have plenty of Cameron Brink that I can run. Yeah, I think I went to bed at a decent time last night. Dan's in the house. What's going on? SoCal guy, good morning. Peter's here. Good morning. Victor's in the house. Good morning. Go Cubs. Hey, beat the Brewers. How about it? I think in PCA, another home run. What's he at? 19 home runs now? Seiya Suzuki. It's the 5th time PCA and Seiya have hit a home run in the same game. 5th time this year that they've hit a home run in the same game. I was just in my Cubs chat this morning, and of course the big rumor is Sandy Alcantara to the Cubs, and like that's not really a rumor, just like everybody's trying to wish it to existence. And it's like it's the elephant in the room. The Cubs have a giant need. The Marlins are going to Marlin and dump off veterans for new prospects. And so I put together a prediction. I predict that Sandy Alcantara will be traded to the Cubs by the 4th of July. It's going to be probably one of those 4th of July weekend trades. We got who did we got Addison Russell in a 4th of July trade. That was a big one back in 2015, 14, 15. Nomar. We got Noma on 4th of July weekend. I remember being at the Parkside Sports Bar when that went down. So I think it's going to be one of those 4th of July trades, 4th of July-ish trades. Sandy Alcantara to the Cubs. Here's my prediction for trade package. I think it's going to take 2 top 100 prospects. And I think those will be Kevin Alcantara for Alcantara, and Owen Casey. I think it's also going to take Christian Hernandez, shortstop, who's really playing well now. Christian Hernandez was compared to, like, what were they calling him? Like mini A-Rod or something, and comping to Manny Machado as like a 15-year-old, which is, I hate it when people do that. And obviously he hasn't lived up to those expectations, even though he's 20 years old, 19 years old, whatever his age is, but he's in high A and he's playing really well. So I think it's going to take Kevin Alcantara, Owen Casey, Christian Hernandez, and then probably Gem City Card Show. Actually, just a few days ago, mentioned this in a chat. I think Riley Martin, or potentially a former big leaguer that's in AAA, that's a reliever that it's just it's one of those things where the Cubs have a glut of that. And if the Marlins can get a big league ready reliever, which I think Riley Martin is a big league reliever, big league ready reliever. But it could also be my guy, Ethan. It could be Luke Little. So I think, one of those guys could be part of a trade package. And then probably like a single A fringe prospect, a body, a lottery ticket projectable, but, either at the back end of the top 30 prospect list in the organization or, outside of that. That's my prediction. And the way Sandy Alcantara, I mean, he's pitching better and better. And, I know he really struggled up until about 3-4 games ago. And then he had 2 great outings, albeit against the Pirates and the Rockies. But then he had a really good game against the Phillies the other night and pitched really well. So, I think that Sandy Alcantara will be a top 10 to 15 pitcher the second half of the season. Look at the back of the baseball card, and typically veterans regress to the mean, and they show, they eventually put out what the back of their baseball card says on the stats. And Sandy Alcantara's stats are still pretty bloated from his, first 7 starts or whatever, and do the math. And I think he's going to have a really good second half to the season, second half plus. That 70s Card Show is here. He says, I was under the impression that no one in the hobby has to go to work and answer to the man. That's true. That is true. Zach says, do I need a federal ID to wear a Madison Sports Card Show cardigan? No, you don't. Red Light, good morning. He's late to the show. No worries. We're always late around here. Kyle Tucker's periodical table symbol is FA. Don't go there. Not this early. Orlando, good morning. George says, you still got that Baez Puerto Rico Museum Collection patch to 10 that I sent you years ago. I sure do. That one cost me like $100 in a break. Breaks are scams. I absolutely do. One of my favorite cards in the hobby Baez collection. Philly Joe, good morning. He says, congrats to Orlando. Orlando says, so happy for the Panthers. Back-to-back Stanley Cups. Zach says, will you have a similar reaction to other sellers when eBay Live is opened up to more people, protecting your Chipper Jones wholesale market? Yes. Hey, let me tell you, a Chipper Jones rookie sold for under comps yesterday at $2. A 91 Topps Chipper Jones, wah, wah. After getting 30 for a score rookie and 20 for an upper deck rookie, I get 2 for the Topps rookie. George says, Ernest is a leg humper. I don't think he is. There's been some times, and it might have been before he got snipped, but I don't think he's a leg humper. How's that carpet smell now? Like cardboard. Because there's so much baseball cards on it. Good morning, Mr. Archer. System of a Down. Red Light says, do some Rose Bench Rodman lots. I think I've got enough for a Rodman lot. And I should have enough for a Rose Bench Big Red Machine. I found a few of those in the boxes I went through last night. So I was setting those aside. Dan says, should I break Burley's cards from their Topps clearly authentic cases to put in the binder? I want everything to go into the Z folios. Well, then I would say yes. I hate those Topps clearly authentic cases. I mean, I leave them in just because if I wanted all of my, say I've got a Sammy Sosa clearly authentic, whatever, in one of those sealed cases, and I wanted to put everything in a binder, I would absolutely break it out of the case. Absolutely. Max says, Dan, no, not original anymore. I say yes, do it. If it's for your PC, absolutely. If you think you might sell it in the future, then I would probably leave it. But if it's for your own collection, just do it. Do it. Gem City says, click, click, boom. Clark needed a protector, and she has one now. That's great. That's great, too. Because last year, she didn't have anybody standing up for her. It was like nobody. They need an enforcer. They got one. Like it. I'm going to have to watch more Indiana Fever games. But if you want to do it, then don't listen to anybody else's opinion. And that's my thought. Like, well, that's a you decision. If it's for your personal collection, then do what you want to do. But if you might sell it in the future, then yeah, you should probably leave it in its original. That 70s card show says Bo has insider trader info from a wedding guest. Stu, good morning. Dan says, I don't see anyone wanting to buy a full rainbow of his, so I don't think I would be concerned about resale of them sealed. This is a good point here that you bring up. From a selling standpoint, I think trying to sell a rainbow is a very bad idea. I think it's kind of like selling lots. You're going to get less per card. Now, it's going to take more work to break them up and sell as singles, but I've got there's a couple guys in my Cubs group chat that have built rainbows, and for one reason or another, that performance-based reasons, Pete Crow Armstrong, cough cough, is one of them. But they've built these rainbows and they bought them on the cheap, and it's like, I'm going to cash out now. Smart. And so, I think most of us were like, don't sell the whole rainbow, because there's such a small pool of full rainbow buyers. Like, there's not a premium on I don't think there's a premium on full rainbows. Because there's so few buyers out there. And I think the higher end, and also depend, it's, with the examples that I have in my Cubs chat, one of them being Pete Crow Armstrong, there's going to be a lot of, and maybe you don't get comps for a base auto, but the orange and the red are going to go for a super high premium, and then the one of one. There's not a lot of rainbow collectors out there. And so I just don't think there's a premium for that. So I would side on, from a selling standpoint, I would side on, break up the rainbow. George says, there's something about Bo. Looks to have some extra jism in the hair today. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the same amount of jism that I normally put in my hair. Could be that I'm really tired this morning. Shane says, Sophie Cunningham played boys high school football. She is her for sure. Very cool. I wonder if did I pick up any Sophie Cunningham? I got Lexi Hall. Did Lexi Hall get traded? Because it's Sophie Cunningham and who's the other? I've got a few, but I've got higher end Caitlin Clarks. Oh, I've got one cheapie left. Those are more. There's probably some in here. I got a bunch of color. Maybe I sold the Sophie Cunningham. She grabbed the back of Sabrina's head and was about to show her face the hardwood. That's what she said. Shane says, indeed, raid the Shane shelf. In fact, you should probably get rid of it. Your business model changed 1,000% for the better. Absolutely. I mean, when I can get $2 a card for Dale Murphy, woo! The Shane shelf has been imploded. I've already rated the Mike shelf. It's much smaller. Mike's my buyer for Acuna, Ohtani, Mahomes, Kobe, and Andy. I bought a bunch of that stuff from Andy at the Spectacular. We did a deal. We did trade for it, and the intent was to sell it to Mike. And I start selling. It's like, oh wow, this stuff's going for high on eBay Live. So none of that reached Mike. In fact, the Aaron Rodgers and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. probably will, but I might even what can I get for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. lots? What can I get for an Aaron Rodgers lot? So even those might not make it to Mike. So I didn't see him in Janesville. I didn't bring him the Vladdies and the A-Rods anyway, but I didn't see him at the show. So it was all for naught anyway. TD, and he's moving, I think, next year. So I don't have that. He's been warning me. He's like, I'm gonna be moving back south. He's from like the Georgia-Tennessee border. TD Sports Cards, good morning. Sophie for the W. Dan says, true, but I should have been more clear. I don't think I'd be able to sell all of them, even individually, because of lack of interest. Yeah, it's kind of player dependent. I don't know. Gem City says, is a rainbow without a 1 of 1? I say no. But there's some in my Cubs chat. There are some that say I collect rainbows, but I don't include 1 of 1s. I can see it both ways. You can talk me into one or the other. Like I don't have like a heart. If I'm collecting a rainbow, I want the 1 of 1s. It's much easier to start with a 1 of 1. Like I can work on the Adon Sanchez Topps Pro Debut Rainbow. I have both superfractors now. I have the auto and the non-auto. In fact, both came from my Cubs chat. Ben, who works at Baseball Card Exchange, I bought the auto from him, and Ethan got the racked me the non-auto super. So I've got to put together, I've got to find what else I need for the pro debut Adon Sanchez. But the Bowman, the first Bowman Chrome, a little difficult because I went the other way. I started with I was in breaks and I'm like, I've got all the, and I got like one color. I'm like, I'm going to do the rainbow because it was cheap. And I'm still missing like 8 or 9, but I'm missing all of the 1 of 1s. I'm missing I'm down to just needing the 1 of 1s and of 5s basically. And of course, with Bowman, there's I think there's 58 in that one, 58 different colors or numbers. John says, speaking of rainbows, halfway through Pride Month, if you haven't hooked up yet, then you've got less than 2 weeks left. George says, I tasted the rainbow and it melted in my mouth, not in my hand. I don't like Skittles anymore. I used to love Skittles. It's just too, and I'm more of a fruit. I got to be careful how I say this. I like fruit desserts more than I like chocolate desserts. But when it comes to candy, I want chocolate over fruit. But when it comes to I'd rather have a pie than chocolate. I used to love fruity candy, Skittles. What were those? The little jelly. They came in like a kind of like a white cardboard, and they were jelly, and there was different colors. It was like a rainbow. Oh shit. Somebody help me in the chat. What was that candy called? I don't even know if they sell them in stores. Jelly candy rainbow. I'm just going to put 90s. Chuckles. Remember Chuckles? I don't even know if they make Chuckles anymore. John, there you go. Chuckles. Look at the fucking chat, dummy. See, because I was Googling it. Chuckles. I hated dots. Gumdrops, Twizzler, dots, fruit slice. That's my jam. What were gumdrops? I've got to Google gumdrops. I don't like dots. Gumdrops. Oh, I don't think I like those. Because those have the nasty colors. Like the purples and the whites. I guess they don't have the pinks. Because it's kind of like jelly beans. I love jelly beans. I still love jelly beans. I like juju. Oh, juju. Oh, no, I don't like jujus. He hit the Necco wafers. What was I talking? Oh, the jelly beans. I like black jelly beans. I like black and yellow and green and red, orange, and I like that. But I don't like I'll leave like the purple. Like anytime you have like a bowl of jelly beans and you cherry pick out the good stuff, and then what's left is a bunch of purple, white, and pink. Like that's all that's left over. And like mine usually looks like purple, white, pink, and then maybe a few yellows, because that's like my, it's not my least favorite, but it's definitely one that I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna pick around the yellows, and then I'm gonna settle on the yellows, and then the rest are just like, and then I just throw them away. Gem City says, no, Lexi and Sophie are like sisters on the team. Dare I say twins? Oh, so Lexi's still on the team. Okay. So that pumps her value up, because I feel like there's a premium on Indiana Fever cards. John says, will there be a safe place aside at the Madison Card Show for those celebrating this month? It's a safe place. Absolutely. Gumdrops, Twizzler. I love Twizzlers. And what's the nibs? I love nibs. I love nibs more than Twizzlers. Gumdrops. I haven't had a gumdrop probably since my grandma was with us in 1992. Fruit slice. Oh, I do love fruit slices. Oh man, I love fruit slices. I feel like I want to stop at the gas station and pick up some fruit slices. The cherry is my favorite. The red ones. I like orange too. Chuckles. I love Chuckles are epic. But you just don't see them. Like they don't sell them at like the grocery store. Dots. Don't like dots. I got to look at the fucking chat. Dan loves dots. Chuckles are candy store or newsstand. Never had them in the big boxes. Yeah, we had them at the IGA. I would buy Chuckles at the IGA, and I think even the gas station in Anawan had them. But like I don't see them. Like I bet you go to the grocery store today, and I don't think Chuckles are going to be sold. And then we had them in like candy machines and like the vending machines. Juju beads, Neckos. I used to smoke a pack of the chalk cigs per day. Oh yeah, remember that? Like life was so much simpler when we could just go around as kids smoking chalk cigarettes, drinking sarsaparilla out of a brown bag like we were drunk. Those were the days. I remember. I'll never forget. And I think it's probably Henry County. It might be next week. Henry County Fair, Cambridge, Illinois. And I remember there was a time, and I think it was probably brief, but probably in the early 90s, where some company took it a step further from chalk cigarette candy, and they made like almost an actual cigarette. And it was like it lit up, and then there was like a chalk at the end where you could blow, and it would look like smoke. And I'm sure it was only at like carnivals. I don't think you could buy it in the candy section at a grocery store, but it was definitely at fairs and carnivals and stuff. And I remember walking up to my mom, and I was from the smoke-free class of 2000. So, and I held that pledge to this day. Well, with the exception of some funny cigarettes on occasion. But I went up to my mom and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'll never forget her reaction, which is exactly what I wanted. I just wanted a reaction. Dan says, I need to stock up on candy at the dollar store in US for my students' class prizes. Excellent. Dan enjoys Twizzlers. I do. I love Twizzlers. Pay your tariffs, Dan. That's all we ask. Nibs are great. Nibs are good. I'm a nib fan. Sweet baby Jesus, the fruit slices are damn near heaven. Yeah, I think that's something we can all agree on. Max says, I can just feel all this shit sticking to my teeth. Gross. That is the downside. That is the down. How about Sour Patch Kids? Love me some Sour Patch Kids. So we had growing up, and it closed in 1993. It was a very sad day in Anawan, Illinois. Kimes Family Store. And it was the last of, the last of something from the old timey days, where it was this creaky old, like I can still hear the creak. I can still, in my mind, as I think back about Kimes Family Store, I can hear the jingle, the heavy wood door open up, the ornate door handle, because the building was built in like the 1890s, opening that heavy wooden door with the cling cling of the bells, because she had Mrs. Kime had bells at the bottom of the door. And you walk in and it's just got that, I can't explain the smell, because it was a general store. Like it had everything, but it wasn't like, you don't go get your bread, milk, and eggs at Kimes. You get you can buy clothes there. You can buy kids' Halloween masks, but not like today's Halloween masks or clothes that are in style today, but stuff that was in style in the 60s and 70s. I wish I could go back and buy everything. You make a killing off this vintage stuff. But we went in, not for all the randomness. I wish I knew, I don't remember really going back and look. I don't think anybody went back, because the clothes were literally 25 years old, the clothes that they sold. So we went for the candy, and it was penny candy in these plastic jars, and Sour Patch Kids were a penny each. They had worms, the jelly worms or whatever the hell, the worms. Those were, I think those were a dime or maybe even 15 cents each. They had the red coins, the jelly coins. Those were, I think, a penny. Tootsie Rolls were a penny. That's a hell of a deal. A penny for a Tootsie Roll. What was some of the lollipops or the gum pops were I think 15, maybe even a quarter. But there was a whole bunch. It was like a buffet of candy, and most of it was penny. And then there were some nickel and dime and 15 cents. I think the gum pops were probably 15 cents. I think the most expensive candy was 15 cents. And we'd go in and you'd count out and sometimes you'd be like, I got 102 pieces of candy for $1. I didn't count right. And so you'd fill this bag up, and she gave it to you in a little brown lunch sack, selling, that she was probably, Mrs. Kime was probably, there was probably some underhanded, business, cash under the table with the dentist, Dr. Van Voren, Dr. Tom. Dr. Tom and Mrs. Kime probably had this thing going where it's feed the town's children the candy, all of the candy, and only charge a penny, and I will reap the benefits in the dental chair. That's why my entire mouth is, now you know why I have to go to the dentist and get root canals and cavities cleaned out and all that bullshit. I was eating too much candy at Mrs. Kime's general store. The good old days, right? Let's see, where we at? Tiger727 says, Nibs remind me of Turk Wendell. having a wad of black licorice in his mouth when he pitched. So I got to actually hang out with Turk Wendell at Club 400 a few months ago. He was at the Sammy Sosa event. And I was expecting, when I found out he was coming, I'm like, dude, this guy's going to be like the weirdest, wackiest, wildest, most eccentric guy out there. No, he's a normal dude. Like I was hoping like he'd do all these crazy, weird quirks. No, he didn't do a single thing. He was like a normal guy. I was kind of disappointed. We had great conversation, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted quirky Turk Wendell from the back of the baseball card, jumping over the lines and eating black licorice, brushing his teeth between innings. Dan says it's hilarious when I give my students and see their reactions to hot tamales. See, I was never a big hot tamale fan, but I love Mike and Ike's. Ooh, I could go for some Mike and Ike's right now. Love me some Mike and Ike's. Now, when you eat Mike and Ike's, do you separate by color? Or do you just put a whole wad in your mouth? I just go with the whole wad. I just like, that's kind of one of my like road trip candies. If I'm on the road, stop at a gas station and just need like just need a little bit of sugar, I typically go for the Mike and Ike's. I usually like look at for 5 minutes in the candy section, knowing full well I'm going to end up with the Mike. Kind of like when I go get beer, I know I'm going to end up probably getting Spotted Cow. But I still spend 5 minutes staring at all the other beers. And then it's like, I don't want Spotted. Yeah, I'm going to get Spotted Cow. Dan says, I loved the Bazooka Joe 5-cent pieces with the comics in grade school. Oh, yeah. I think the Bazooka Joe gum at Kimes I think that was a nickel. Sioux City Sarsaparilla versus IBC root beer. I'm a Sioux City Sarsaparilla guy. There it is. There it is. Cody, Mike and Ike's, his road trip candy. Absolutely. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That 70s Card Show says it was called a vape pen or a douche flute. Bazooka Joe has made a many strengthened jaws. Yeah. Those first couple bites into a Bazooka Joe little piece of gum. Oof. Cooter says, growing up in the 70s, restaurants had two sections, smoking and secondhand smoking, right? I remember we had a Ponderosa. We had a Ponderosa in Macomb, which still had a smoking section until the day that Illinois made the law of no smoking in restaurants and bars, which was what, 2000, what year was that? Like 08, 2008, 2007, 8, 9, somewhere in there. But I remember because my mom and dad were both heavy smokers, killed my dad, lung cancer. And we would have to sit in the smoking. And there was like one other person that looked like my dad wearing his flannel shirt, pack of cigs in the front pocket, Wrangler jeans and New Balance. And it was us in the smoking section. And as the smoke wafts into the non-smoking section. What we call gummies, Korean called jellies. I can see that. Jelly candy. Gum candy, jelly candy. John says root beer barrels. I like a good root beer barrel. I'm not going to go out of my way for a root beer barrel, but yeah, I'll suck on a root beer barrel. I like root beer. Root beer is kind of like my go-to pop or soda, whichever you. Swedish Fish. I enjoy the Swedish Fish. That's another of my road trip. That's kind of my go-tos when I'm on the road. If I stop at a gas station, need a little bit of sugar, I'm either going Mike and Ike's, Swedish Fish. I do the fruit slices sometimes, kind of like that. Back in the day, it was 50-cent bags of candy. They're probably like $3 now, but those bags of candy. Barry says packs of baseball cards. Unicorn says Sour Patch Kids give me a weird reaction. If I have more than 10 in like a minute, I start sweating. Only food and candy that does that. That is very interesting. I wonder what there's something in the ingredient that gives you that reaction. Look at the you can do a little experiment and buy a bag, or just go to the store and take a picture of it, or just Google it. what are the ingredients in Sour Patch Kids, and see what in similar candies, there's got to be some type of ingredient in there that's causing that reaction. That's interesting. John says, what I call gummies, others call Friday night. Search and rescue cards in the house. Good morning. Today is new release of 2024 Topps Inception Baseball. We're only a year behind. Tootsie Roll. A Tootsie Roll by the 69 Boys. Yeah, great song. Tootsie Roll. Was there a red light in front of Mrs. Kime's store? I don't think so. I'd be disturbed if there was. I'd be very disturbed if there was. Rest in peace, Mrs. Kime. Orlando says, now they have all the old-time candy at Cracker Barrel. There's some like good candy stores that have all of this. Because like you don't see it. Like you go to Walmart, Target, the grocery store, and you don't see some of these candies like Chuckles. But if you go to actually World Market is a store that has, maybe I'll go to World Market this week. Because that's where I saw Clearly Canadian. And I'm like, I thought they stopped making this 20 years ago. But I've actually started seeing Clearly Canadian in my in one of the groceries, in the Pick and Save that I don't like going to, but still do. So I do see Clearly Canadian now. But they have a lot of like the candy that you don't see anymore that you used to see a lot in the 80s and 90s. Dez, what's going on? Did you end up selling the Trout? It's still in my possession. Did you end up getting your price? Good to see Mike Trout back again. Yeah. What's he doing now? I've had a couple offers for it, but I'm still waiting for my price. I might end up taking that offer. It's been this long. It's kind of like, well, 229 with 11 home runs, third in all-star votes among American League outfielders. Of course, we all know how all-star voting works. Search and Rescue says, I love Junior Mints in the box. You know, I am not a big chocolate, which the funny thing is, one of my favorite ice creams is mint chocolate chip. But when it comes to candy, like I don't like Thin Mints. I hate peppermint patties, which I used to like as a kid. Now I hate them. Junior Mints are okay, but I'm not a fan. I loved Junior Mints when I was younger. Now I don't like mint and chocolate anymore. Bronco, what's going on? Not sure what is happening here, but I tuned in just in time to hear Bo say he put a big wad in his mouth. I'm old enough to have been on planes with smoking sections. Not sure how we thought that would work. Max says that smoking BS was still there in the mid-90s here, or whenever the hell it was. Can't believe people choose to smoke. Me neither. It's gross. John says, I wonder what candy RK uses as a lure. Nobody eat chocolate here. I guess you all are why that stuff is still on the shelves. Never seen anybody grab the stuff. George says they don't make Crystal Pepsi anymore, and that's a good thing. Although if you leave Pepsi in the sun long enough, it probably becomes Crystal Pepsi. Des says all this candy talk is killing me this morning. And yes, Mike and Ike's rock. I know. I'm probably going to, I did something yesterday I haven't done in a long, long time. I stopped at McDonald's because I had to get Ernie to doggy daycare. And I think I ran out of milk for cereal. I guess I could do bagel and cream cheese because I'm not going to go to McDonald's again today. But I needed to eat something because otherwise, last week I did a live at 10 a.m. and I didn't eat breakfast. And so it's like 12:30 and I'm like freaking starving and I still have like 75 auctions to go. And I'm like, I've got to go upstairs and get a protein bar or something. I'm killing me here. Unicorn Cupcake says, does the Madison Card Show need a candy dealer? I wish. 229 and an all-star consideration, and therein lies the problem with modern baseball. When did you eat Casey's last? Oh, it wasn't that long ago. But I think I've only eaten Casey's pizza twice in the last 13, 14 months. The most recent was just a few weeks ago. I think when my wife was out of town. She was in. So it was just probably 2 weeks ago. They have a new brisket pizza, which actually was pretty good. It's not like their old barbecue pizza. But it was good. I enjoyed it. So that was the last time, just a couple weeks ago. but I think the time before that was last summer sometime. George says, just sell some tops in Bowman gum. Des says, are you going to the National? You bet your ass I am. I'll be there every day. I love the decision they made this year. You can actually pick up your VIP passes on Tuesday. I'm still going to go Wednesday. Get some extra work because I'm going to be there every single day. So I'll go down there Wednesday. I'll leave in the morning, check in, and hit the tables when the doors open at 3 or whatever time it is on Wednesday afternoon. I will wear comfortable shoes because I'm going there for the duration, and I'll be wearing my comfortable shoes. I love your mid-show pivot on all-star balloting. Good for PCA, fraud for Mike Trout. Did I pivot on all-star ballot? I think all-star voting is a sham, but also PCA is first in the all-star voting. Kyle Tucker, number 2 in outfield votes. They're not mutually exclusive. You know, I can say PCA is first in all-star voting while believing that the all-star voting is a sham. I think Carson Kelly is second. I mean, he's had a good year though at the catching position. Hell, he might be the second best catcher in the National League for all I know. I don't know what the stats are, but Unicorn Cupcake says, I keep spending all my national savings. Max says, all-star voting in any modern sport has always been a popularity contest, not just modern baseball. That is very true. It's always been this way. It's not, nothing has changed. Mark, good morning. We're at the end of the chat. You missed a lot of candy talk. I'm going to be on eBay Live coming up in 1 hour. So I've got to get my coffee made. I've got to get Ernie off to school. And I've got to get some lots for just one more card. I'll see what I can dig up for red slots for you. All right. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, 10 o'clock, 1 hour away, we will do the eBay Live. Link is in the description. Max says, oops, I forgot to save for the National. Florida baseball card dudes in the house. Good morning. Cody says, will your 1 of 1 be on display at the Madison Card Show? No, it will not be. Des says, I'm going to the National to get some of my junk wax cards signed. So far, I got auto tickets for Lawrence Taylor, Patrick Ewing, Bernie Williams, Roberto, I think that's Alomar, and Dave Winfield. See you there. Awesome. Very cool. I think I'm going to take my giant tops now, Pete Crow Armstrong, to get signed because his autos are cheap. You know, if he keeps this up, his autos next year will not be $160. John is off to see his beloved Manchester City play in Philly with my son. Awesome. Enjoy that. All right. And I'm off to take Ernie to school. Have a great day. I'll see you in less than an hour on eBay Live. See you there.